Hi, all. Good evening. Emerson said, our chief want in life is somebody who will make us do what we can. Have you ever wanted such a someone? Someone like Krishna to Arjuna, Dumbledore to Harry Potter, Steve Jobs to Mark Zuckerberg? Someone who cannot just share their riches to us, but also can more specifically help us discover our own riches. Yes, I am talking about a good mentor. I can't reiterate the need for a good mentor in one's Toastmasters journey. But more importantly, I can't reiterate the need for being a good mentor in someone else's Toastmasters journey. Which is why, as our very first episode of Punch Tantra Talks, a 5-minute educational video series, we will be talking about mentoring. And to help us with it, we have this leader, TEDx speaker, a distinguished Toastmaster, and a lovable mentor to hundreds of people as our special guest. And our guest today has over 20 years of experience in networking technologies, working for leading companies such as Cisco, Ericsson, and Verizon, and has recently authored a book titled An Introduction to 5G Wireless Networks. While I mentioned how he has mentored hundreds of people, you need to remember that this is just on record. Off record, through his blog and speaking, leadership, and Toastmastering, he has helped and mentored thousands of Toastmasters in the district. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in welcoming our very first guest of the Punch Tantra Talks, DTM Sarovelrajan. Thank you so much, Soro, for accepting our invitation to be our guest for this new initiative of LNTCC Toastmasters Club.
Thank you so much, Kritika, and I'm very excited to be part of this short interview and interaction.
Thank you so much. So we'll get started on with our interview. So the first question to you, Saro, is what is a major mistake most people are doing wrong when it comes to mentoring someone? Like be it for a newbie or be it for an intermediate Toastmaster or even for a senior Toastmaster.
A major mistake that all of us make, even I have made in the past, was trying to clone our mentee to look like us, to think like us, to talk like us. Each individual is very unique in this world, and it's very hard for you to change one person to be like you. So, the mistake that we all should be consciously avoiding is trying to push our mentee to be like us. So, our job is to help them explore and discover their own unique style, as opposed to trying to convert them into to be like us. So that is probably the biggest mistake that we all make as a mentor, and we should be conscious about avoiding that.
Great. Yeah, it makes absolute sense. You don't want to. I also it becomes a shortcoming for the person who's becoming your mentee as well, right? So
True,
great
true.
point. Thank you so much. So the second question is about: do you think that the mentor should necessarily be an all-rounder to be effective? So what happens if how can a not so all-rounder mentor aid in developing a great Toastmaster?
If a mentor has to be an all-rounder, then I don't think we would have enough mentors in our community today. So it's very hard to be an all-rounder also today because the industry is growing significantly. The vehicles used for communication is growing phenomenally. So it's very hard for us to become an all-rounder in everything. So it's not a must to be an all-rounder for you to be a mentor. So that's number one. And but at the same time, your mentor should constantly show that curiosity to learn, constantly should try to upgrade themselves so that they know what is happening, and they should also trying to spread their influence across the community. So that is a must. A mentor should always display curiosity to learn and upgrade themselves. So if you are not an all-rounder, what should you do? Obviously, not everybody is an all-rounder. For example, there are mentees who come to me for speech reviews for their humorous speech contests. I'm not a humorous speaking expert. So what I do is I'll do an initial review of the speech and then recommend them and guide them to another person who is an expert, probably a Rajesh Natarajan or a Jayan who can do a better job of reviewing their humorous speeches. So as a mentor, if you have the influence and if you have connects with people around you, then you can guide them and recommend them to approach other mentors in the community. So that's the job of the mentor. So it's not a must for the mentor to be an all-rounder.
Right. Very true. Nicely put. But most of the time, people have this let go attitude. You don't want to let go. And there's also this thing about okay, I am his mentor now. Why should I recommend to someone? I think that's something very aptly put, that you will have to reach out to the right person in order for your mentee to be more effective. Thank you.
True.
Great. So the third question that I have for you is, what are the two things that you recommend to be done by the mentor for having a better collaboration rather than just, meeting at the time of speech preparation?
So the two things that I would recommend, there are several things that I would recommend, but the top two are: number one, which is something that I learned from my mentor too, is helping people to discover their leadership style. Most people come to Toastmasters to improve or develop their communication skills, but mentors not very often support their mentees with their leadership journey. So there is a lot of opportunities available in Toastmasters as well as in the professional world when you groom your leadership skills. So as a mentor, you should encourage your mentees to sign up for leadership roles, be it smaller roles during the club meeting or relatively larger roles in the club executive committee, or even larger roles outside of the club. So that is number one. And number two, we should also encourage mentees to benchmark their skills by participating in contests. Contests provide a great platform for you to benchmark your skills with others in the community. I always tell people the purpose of contests is not to differentiate the bronze from the silver to the gold. The purpose of the contest is to take a golden ore and convert it into a golden ornament. That's the transformation that somebody goes through when they participate in contests. So as a mentor, you should also nudge your mentees to participate in contests and transform themselves.
Very
So those
nice.
are the two things that I would recommend, Kritika.
Oh, great. Two very short but very, very strong points that I think there is there for us to as a takeaway on this. Great. I think to conclude this, I have one last question for you.
Oh, sure.
And that is, what is your number one life-changing lesson that you have had in your Toastmasters journey? And we want to know whether is it as a mentor or was it from your mentor?
Okay. So life changing, probably it's from my mentor, I would say. So I joined Toastmasters in the year 2006, and I was in US for about 3 years, and that's where I started my Toastmasters journey. And all along, I had not even ventured into any of the leadership track. So when I returned back to India in the year 2009, my mentor DTM Giridhar, she pushed me to get started with the competent leadership track. So that's when I got the competent leadership manual and started doing some of those roles. Of course, I have done those roles in the past, but I had not followed the manual. So she pushed me to follow the manual and start doing it. Later on, she pushed me to become VP education in the club and then to become a president of Chennai Toastmasters Club. When I finished that role, she pulled me into doing a club mentor role for a corporate club. Then later on, she asked me to perform the role of an assistant area director when she became the area director. During those days, it was called area governor. So I was the assistant area governor at that time. Then the following year, she pushed me into the race for the division governor role at that time. And without even knowing what the role demands, I just signed up for the role. And I realized that it's a whole lot of workload, but great learning opportunities as well. So on that year, I finished the term as the best division governor for the whole of District 82. So DTM Lalita Giridhar played a significant role in helping me to learn life-changing leadership skills by pursuing several leadership roles in Toastmasters. So that is something that I would cherish. And as a mentor, I would recommend all mentors to impart this to their mentees to help them run into leadership roles and explore more learning opportunities by signing up for leadership roles.
Absolutely great. I think very true that you learn more when you actually do it, and then
Exactly.
that provides a tremendous learning, and that cannot be taught. And
True.
I think that's a very nice example that you quoted in terms of your own journey, how your mentor helped you in doing all this. Great. So last, I just wanted to take a quick feedback in terms of what you think of this series, because this is our first episode. So I just wanted to hear a few words on that.
So it's a great initiative, Kritika. In fact, when you approached me for the first time, I was not sure what you are trying to achieve. But then later on, I realized an interaction like this over an online medium and having a discussion with somebody for the first time, right? We have not even met in the past. We have not interacted face to face in the past. This itself is a unique experience. And I personally learned a few things in terms of technology to have this interaction. And I'm sure you also are going to learn a few things in terms of editing this video, making it available, and all of that. So I always say Toastmasters provides a lot of opportunities, but it's up to us to tap into those opportunities, right? So I'm very impressed that you and your team are tapping into this opportunity to learn more. So it's a great initiative. Wishing you all the best for the Punch Tantra series.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Saro. You have made this episode more special by your presence, and I'm feeling really elated at the end of this interview. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. All the best.